So, let's meet Morbius together, shall we? As I said in my reaction to this teaser trailer, it's very much a tease. There better be a lot more than this. If Michael Keaton just shows up at the end of this damn movie, I'm going to be so upset, because he's a large reason as to why I'm going. In fact, after I watched this trailer, I called up a friend of mine who's a huge Michael Keaton fan, but not a particularly big comic book fan, and I said, you gotta see the new Jared Leto movie. And she was like, why? And I was like, the new Jared Leto is a vampire movie. And she was like, why do I have to see that? And I said, because Michael Keaton's in it. And she was like, damn it, I'm going. So I hope he's getting paid a lot. It's very exciting, but again, as I said, as for just Morbius, not particularly well known. I'm sure there are some Morbius fans out there. In fact, it seems from the comments on the trailer reaction that a lot of you were most familiar with him from the animated series from the 90s. So there are some Morbius fans out there, but for the most part, this is kind of a gift to Sony in that they can do what they want with it. There's not going to be a lot of that's not in the comics complaints. You know, Venom was a slippery slope, although I really ended up quite liking that movie, as you know. And as a lot of people did, it made a lot of money, and I'm excited for Andy Serkis' sequel. But anyway, I hope they make strong decisions here. Sony made very strong decisions with Mysterio. I thought that was fantastic. I love how they reinvented Vulture. And now they're going to reinvent one on their own, because I like, a lot of you were like, what's Kevin Feige's reaction to Michael Keaton being in this movie? Michael Keaton is basically a Sony Marvel villain, so they can do with him what they please. The real question is what's going to happen with Tom Holland, right? So my favorite response to this from some of you is who's Michael Keaton playing? Of course he's playing Adrian Toomes. They even credit that Spider-Man movie in this trailer. They're universe building, finally. And that's very exciting. That's what's going to excite most of us about this movie, with all due respect to the rest of it. I mean, Vulture's an idea guy, right? He likes to make lemonade out of lemons, and he'll put a little blood in Morbius's, right? I mean, remember, that was such a brilliant way to do the Vulture. He has a salvage company, because, you know, vultures are salvagers. And he decides to upgrade once Tony Stark puts him out of business, saying only they can take care of superhero cleanup. Absolutely phenomenal. And you know, the Vulture still getting his stuff from picking over the remains of superhero battles or stealing from them, like a vulture. It's so good. So of course the idea is, are they going to finally set up the Sinister Six? Vulture's not usually the leader, but I'm cool with it, especially because it's Michael Keaton. Now, Morbius was in one version of the Sinister Six, when there was 12 of them. He's not really a Sinister Six member, but Sony's like, throw us a frickin' bone here, to quote Dr. Evil. Do you want a Sinister Six or not? And my answer, and I suspect many of you have the same one, is yes, please, Morbius is fine. And I think the real evil to a Sinister Six movie would be sucking Tom Holland finally out of the MCU, because the Sinister Six can't come together and have no one to fight. They gotta fight Spider-Man. So, and also, it's weird to me that they've decided to make all of these Spider-Man spin-off movies very 90s, and I'm curious to see Tom Holland in that aesthetic, right? Well, they continue to do that. Now, the only problem is that until Vulture shows up, and again, that better not be the goddamn end of the movie, because it's in the trailer, but it's more of a vampire movie than a comic book movie. And audiences have had a tough track record with vampire movies. They don't like them, to be honest, right? I recently watched the BBC Dracula show from the people who do Sherlock. I liked it, even though a lot of other people didn't. I'm not surprised. He kills a lot of nuns. It really crosses every line there is. But I thought it was good, campy fun. I even thought the Luke Evans recent Dracula movie had some moments. And I've liked a lot of vampire movies. I thought Daybreakers was really strong. I like playing with the mythology. I like the classic ones. But this is a Daniel Espinosa vampire movie. And what do you know? It looks like every other Daniel Espinosa movie. I don't know who in their right mind. I mean, you could put anybody on Morbius, right? I mean, maybe not anybody, because Jared Leto has a tough track record himself these days. But I would think that you could get, I mean, I can't imagine anyone would be like, what should we give Daniel Espinosa? We got to keep him at the studio. I mean, the last thing he did for Sony was Life, which everybody, by the way, thought should be a Venom prequel, and it wasn't. But I guess Daniel Espinosa ain't going to make that mistake twice. He's like, I'm world building. And we love him for it. So it was worth bugging him about Venom to hopefully maybe get this situation. I mean, Daniel Espinosa, he doesn't have enough pull to demand this. This is Amy Pascal. So I'm glad And Amy Pascal continues to be Kevin Feige's worst villain. But in my opinion, she's an anti-hero. I love what she's doing over at Sony for the most part. But I think connecting Sony's Spider-Man movies is just too tempting for any of us to pass up in terms of seeing this movie. It's going to become, I think it just shot up to being really, something that we all want to see. And I do feel that to date, Sony has, I like the risks they take. They're a little edgier with their characters. So I'm looking forward to this. All right, let's break it down. As I said, a lot of this stuff is new, and a lot of it's really basically a vampire movie. All right, so here we go. All right, so I like this logo. Here's something I like to call Morbius Vision. We'll go over it when we watch the trailer, but his name is in Morbius Vision, and I like how it turns, from regular to blood. Oh, I like it. So there it goes. He drains it out, and he's like, delicious. I should have like a sound. Now, this is a Greek Orthodox church, and it's important to realize that in the comics, Michael Morbius comes from, he's supposed to have Greek heritage, right? So you can see that reflected in his place of worship, and it seems that he is an orphan. Because of course he is. He has the worst luck at all. If it wasn't for bad luck, I wouldn't have any luck at all. So there's Jared Harris, this is doctor. So they're both men of medicine, so they can continue their discussions as they go on. And then you see it's Montage Man. Montage Man shows up and shows how learned Michael Morbius is. His body might be broken, but his mind is sharp. So you can see some quick shots there. He's playing chess, so he's a master strategist. They use chess all the time in comic books. It's hilarious. That looks a little like one of the Sprouse brothers to me, which is actually a pretty good parallel with Jared Leto. Both of them are like, don't compare me to that other one. You'll both be lucky. They're both doing well. All right, I don't know what happened to the other Sprouse twin. He's gone. All right, so anyway, so there's Jared Harris. And I wonder how young he's supposed to be in the other shots, because that's basically the age he is now. And I like that they cut to Jared Leto. I love Jared Leto. I really admired what he tried to do with Joker. I felt that he wasn't given the support that he needed. He's obviously not an improviser, but I thought he had a lot of good instincts. And, some of you, I thought he did a good job, and some of you were like, you must be joking, Grace. You know how popular that character, his version of the character was. It has a huge fan base. You don't get that kind of reaction if you're not doing something right. And it's a shame, of course, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is amazing. But I thought that, Jared Leto had a really interesting take on it. But I do not think that Jared Leto looks like an intellectual by any means. So I don't look at him and be like, oh, yes, I guess don't judge a book by its cover, but he's not selling me in any way. It's not like, well, he doesn't look like one, but then when he starts to talk, I think he's a scientist. He's like clearly like playing a scientist like in a music video. But I'll allow it because I'm interested in building a Spider-Man cinematic universe. So he's like, yes, I'm so unhappy. But here he is. Every time I see the Nobel Prize ceremony now, I think of the Big Bang Theory series finale, which was really good. I'd love it if he was from Greece, but clearly he's based in New York, as you'll see in this establishing shot. There we go. And there we have a nice fake building from the VFX department. But those are all real buildings in the back there. New York's getting taller and taller these days. So, but he's struggling. I like that he has like a mad scientist coat. They're like, you don't have to wear that. He's like, I want to wear it, but I swear I'm actually a nice guy. He's an anti-hero. So yeah, so I do like the way he interacts with this young girl. And he's like, I must still be alive to solve my dilemma. Oh, I know, I'm gonna chew on this bat. Okay, so all right, so. As I said, it's very much not only Batman. Everyone sees a bat, especially one laid out in the bat symbol, right? They're like, oh, look, let's shine a light on it. And they can don't play with that bat's dead body. It's not nice. But, it's very much like, not only like Batman, but if you're a Batman fan, as am I, you, of course, it calls to mind Man-Bat, which was, who was a Batman. Well, what do you know? Anti-hero, who also accidentally turns himself into a living bat, and, causes problems for Batman, but sometimes, Batman feels sorry for him, and sometimes they work together. It's a lot like this Spider-Man-Morbius relationship. Even down to the facial deformities, which I don't think Jared Leto will be rocking that often because they paid for Jared Leto. And I don't think Jared Leto might be into it. Anyway, so he's got this bat. Boy, that really does look like a mouse lying there on the table. So that's, by the way, that is a character from the comics. That is Martine Bancroft, his fiancée, the couple that dissects flying mice together, stays together. And she, at one point in the comics, also turns into a vampire, a living vampire. The actress, though, is Adria Arjona, who was in Six Underground. She had a very small role. She was fine. I wasn't like, who's this? But she's fine. And she actually just signed with CAA, so I guess CAA feels pretty good about this movie. But I don't know, she seems like a pretty traditional choice for this. You want someone maybe a little more interesting in the role. But let's see what she does with it. All right, I think she might not make it out of this movie alive, to be honest with you. All right, so he's spitting blood around. How many times have we seen that in movies? And then he's like, I don't have a lot of time left. Forget it. I'm trying the supernatural. But with a science angle, because he's built that. He built himself a little cage. And like he's like, oh, so that clearly you can see there's some writing on the edge of it. So he's got himself an artifact knife, and he's like, all right, let's do it. I'm a man of science driven to desperation. And he very artistically cuts this. Oh, it's a great shot. I have to say, I love that shot. It's the best shot in the trailer where you can clearly see Jared Leto's face, and I did choose it for my poster frame for my trailer reaction. It's really fantastic, especially with the blood dripping down. So I hope he can fly a helicopter because those guys aren't in the cage. He's like, I made one also for the pilot. And a transformation takes place. I guess he could fly back now, maybe. But where did they go? Because clearly that's nowhere near New York, right? But he went by helicopter. All right. And he's like, I feel a lot better. She's like, let's put you in this glass cage just to be safe. But it doesn't work. I don't look like Jared Leto has ever thrown a punch in his life. All right. Like, can someone show him how to throw a punch? So here they go. I like that it's hard to read the titles. Kevin Feige's like, could you at least make it hard to read? And Amy Pascal's like, okay. They did bring you these movies. I wish they'd said Spider-Verse, because only Venom and Spider-Verse are truly their own. Look at that. It's a blood red sky. Oh, that's a nice choice. I also love this shot. I also like, they're like, look, he has a library. This reminds me a little bit of what Universal tried to do with their making their monsters more modern. That didn't work out. That had some cool moments, but then it really horribly did not. But I like the bats swirling around him, although that's a little Batman-y, right? From what Zack Snyder did with the character. But that's a pretty cool swirl they got going on there. Those bats are pretty well trained. All right. Where's all the bat poo going? What you don't know about? Like what it would really look like in the bat cave is what people joke about all the time, and what it would really look like in there. All right, so that's a flashback to when he was very sick. He does look very sick. That looks bad. But this is hilarious, okay? And then they're like, now look at him. You're like, hilarious. It's so like Hollywood trainer ad, right? I'm sure everyone's furiously Googling Jared Leto Morbius workout. He looks like he did it, though, so good for him. Look, he's like, look, I'm lifting up this. He likes that he's still an intellectual. He's like, I could lift up anything, but look, I'm going to show off by lifting off this artifact that I have in my office, which looks kind of like it's from a vampire movie. He's like, leave me alone. Okay, so here, you see this? So at first I thought there was some kind of blood thing going on, but it's actually what I'm calling Morbius vision. So, which makes things harder to see, so it's weird, but I guess it's because, look, he has his eyes closed. So anyway, it's actually just a red ball. Good choice, production design. So he catches this red ball with his eyes closed because he's using his sonic imaging, which is very cool. All right, well, and they have a shot of that in a moment. Now this, at first I thought they were ripping off Nightcrawler and he was teleporting. No, it's Morbius vision, and I believe he has purple lining, because he's Jared Leto, in his coat. So that's what you're seeing here, which I think is pretty cool. So again, it's hard to see what you're looking at, but it is kind of interesting. So you can see, especially toward the end there, you like go right up his coat to his back. All right. So then we've got these are just regular police cars, but they have a SHIELD agent with them you're about to meet. No, not yet, quite yet. In a moment. So there, he's got Morbius vision in the eyes. Those look very much like the comic book eyes. That's pretty cool. And also, I was wondering if he had pointy ears, and then I noticed that he has like those weird ridges in his ears that bats have. I think that's pretty cool too. All right. And look at those eyebrows. Those are all Jared Leto. Nice eyebrowage there, buddy. All right. His hair does look good. He does have nice hair. So he's using echolocation. I hope this is used very well in the movie. I think it looks really neat. I like it. And also he gets his glare on, and I think that works really well too. Like Jared Leto does make me feel like he's about to do something cool. So I hope he does. All right. The VFX department's like, we've done our job. Now it's all up to you, Jared. And he's like, hold on. So here he is. He has a thirst for human blood. I think that might be Matt Smith who's talking. So he gets kind of vampire-y. He's scurrying around like Batman. I liked when Batman was on the roof in Batman v Superman. That was really cool. So look, there's Jared Leto, clearly on a wire, but he's doing the jumping himself. That's what Jared Leto's like backstage at his concerts. If you don't do what he wants. All right. So this is a good cut from he's being held in some kind of containment facility, and he breaks out, and that looks like his girlfriend there on the floor. And there also seems to, I don't know, that's a red reflection maybe there. I'm not sure. This is that's not the same scene. It's a nice shot though. Okay, so this is what everyone loves. So he's clearly getting out of prison. He's stolen himself some clothes. He even took the hanger. What a monster. But then of course everyone loves, there's not only a Spider-Man image behind him, but also it says murderer, right? And of course that's because at the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, he was framed for the murder of not only Mysterio, but like he was the one who was killing all these people with the illusions. So as people have pointed out, that is the Sam Raimi Spider-Man suit, but I think it's just, they're closing the loop, right? Now I hope this is throughout the film and not just like they have some momentum like at the very end. There's a rumor that J. Jonah Jameson is going to show up and also interview Michael Morbius for his website, but I hope that that's not again at the end of the film. But it's cool. It's nice to see the Sam Raimi suit back. I'd love to see I'd love to see. Some people said they thought that this was in an alternate universe and that Tobey Maguire was this universe's Spider-Man. You know what? I think that's a bit of a cheat, but I would so allow it. Or if it was Jake Johnson in there, I would so allow it. And let Tom Holland stay in the MCU. That, I think it would be, at first you might be a little disappointed, but would you really be? I wouldn't be at all. All right. So look, all right, so there's Tyrese, who cried when he signed his contract because it's a 3-picture deal, or I think maybe even more than that, but he's supposed to be sticking around, and he's playing Simon Stroud, an agent Simon Stroud, who nobody knows who he is. And he never had that mechanic arm, I don't believe, in the comics. But he does there. That looks like totally like something Tyrese would be like, this is going to be great. And I think in typical Tyrese fashion, it sometimes is not great, but I hope this is one of the cases where it is. I've enjoyed him in the Fast and Furious movies. But a little Tyrese goes a long way. So there's Matt Smith. Talk about potent, though. He only has this one shot in the entire trailer, and everyone's very excited about it. I like Matt Smith. He was so good in The Crown. I would love to see him get to do more. Wasted as Skynet in the Terminator Genesis movie. He's playing... I forgot. I was just so mesmerized by Matt Smith. It's a Loxious Crown, aka hunger. Basically, he has the same disease, or he gets the same situation as Jared Leto, but he uses it for bad, while Jared Leto uses it for good, or they're both in the gray area, etc. All right. So I like this give and take, by the way. All right. So Jared Leto is talking to Jared Harris, and he says, "How far are we allowed to go to fix something that's broken?" I think that's a fair and very fascinating question. Oh, by the way, so things are not going well. I believe he's not feasting. They make it look like he's feasting on someone. I think someone's dead here, and he's really upset about it. My guess is his fiancée. She's not a big enough name to make it into the next movie, I think, quite frankly. And Jared Harris says, until the remedy is worse than the disease itself. And I'd be like, that's a matter of opinion, because I think that disease looked pretty bad. I don't really know if anything could be worse. Although it's pretty bad for this lady. That's a cool shot. I like the casting on this actress as well. I think she's really visually interesting. And she's really selling it. I feel bad for her. Don't kill her. She's cool. She's interesting. She's more interesting than his fiancée. Keep her. All right. That was somebody else, by the way. I think I pulled back. And then there's that great shot. Still has the cool eyebrows. That's how you know it's still Jared Leto as Morbius. Is he turning into a bat? He's supposed to stay that way. But as I said, I don't think Jared Leto will. So then you get the cool logo being drained with the blood. Ah, yes. Slurp. I drink your milkshake. And then here he comes with his cool coat. We've seen a lot of the shot of them filming this. I wonder if it's what he stole off the hanger, right? And then everyone got so excited because it's Michael Keaton saying, Michael Morbius got tired of the whole good guy thing, huh? And then he says, "What's up, Doc?" And he seems a little bit more menacing than he was in the movie before, Spider-Man Homecoming, but he's being more Michael Keaton-y, so again, I will allow it. And he says, "What's up, Doc?" Which is funny, because some of you pointed out that's a Warner Brothers line, of course. But at the same time, Michael Morbius is a doctor, so it makes sense. So I think this is beginning to put the Sinister Six together. Morbius is interested, and they're like, "Summer." So I think it looks, I'm not sold, but I'm damn curious, right? So what do you think? What do you think of Michael Keaton? What interests you about this movie? What do you know about Morbius? Do you like vampire movies? And what do you think of Amy Pascal versus Kevin Feige? All right, share your thoughts down below. Again, thank you for going over this with me. Subscribe today. And of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.